You're a bookkeeper and you're constantly being told that you need to get visible. But what does that mean and how do you get started? Today's conversation is part of a series where we speak with the top industry leaders. Not everybody gets to see or hear the conversations that happen behind the scenes with the people behind the brand and the software. Welcome to the 6FB Sofa Sessions.
Chris, great to have you here.
Thank you.
So our audience sees you everywhere. You're at every event. We see you on webinars, you're on podcasts. And what we want to do today is understand what drives that visibility and how you keep it authentic while representing a brand, and what our bookkeepers can learn from you in terms of their own visibility. So I wonder if we can take you back to your early career. Mm-hmm. What was it that made you decide to become an accountant?
Well, that's going back in time, isn't it? So we could go back to 1995. So I was at college. You had to do that sort of compulsory work experience. And I thought, well, I should really do a profession. And I thought, well, I'll try accountancy. I didn't like law, so I'd do accountancy. I was always good at numbers at school, loved numbers. So did a week's work experience with Milton Langdon. That time there were about 12, 13 people in the firm in the centre of town. Everyone had a PC as well. So this is 95, and that's quite a rare thing. Okay, it would have Lotus 123. That's a memory.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a practical job. So it was a lorry business, and I had to analyse his checkbook and type that into Lotus and provide a cash book, and amongst other jobs. So I enjoyed that. It was quite good. And then went to uni. I did a geography degree because I thought, well, yeah, I think I'll try accountancy. So I thought I'd do an unrelated degree. Went to finish uni. I was seeking a job. Went to Milton Langdon. Went to another firm in town, ran my CV, and had interviews. And why I still went to Milton Langdon was that firm then grown to about 40 people. Everyone had PC. The other major firm in town had like 1 or 2 PCs in the whole of the office. The same for a bigger firm. So me being me, like a bit of technology, I thought that's the way for me. So started in 1999, Office Junior, do the usual things of ticking banks, having a multitude of different highlighters, and then having more highlighters and different coloured biros. So really understand how to tick a bank. That's the key core skill. But obviously trying to use technology better. So I used Excel. I was the Excel sort of geek champion, getting to use pivot tables in the early days. But really it's all about how do you save time? Because as a profession, that's what we do. Time is money. And being able to get a job done faster or make it more enjoyable is the key. So worked my way through the ranks, had my own portfolio of clients, and eventually became a partner, invited to be in the partnership. But in that time, my key theme was, how do I use technology to provide the right sort of insights? And I had a real favourite client. It was a butcher's. He had like 5 or 6 different shops. And very early on, I was given the responsibility to do those management accounts. And I saw that business go from good old Sage DOS over to Sage 50. And I was in a position where I was delivering monthly management accounts for every shop with pretty pictures and graphs and charts and analysis of directors' loan accounts. And that basically demonstrates the importance of having the right numbers. It's not about the year-end accounts. It's having been able to make decisions based upon the information you had. So I carved out my own department called Business Intelligence. So it was a team of colleagues who were focused on providing insights, management information, forecasts, as well as the compliance. And that was all about using technology better. And I was exploring with everything. There was a solution called Roamby, which everyone's forgotten about now. But then starting to use Power BI. But primarily it's using Excel and graphs and charts at that time. If only at that time we had more cloud solutions who would integrate the reporting tools. And then that was my profession after 19 years. And then Sage tapped me on the shoulder.
Wow. I mean, you were really forward thinking, like having a business intelligence department back then. And to get that kind of backing from the other partners, I'm assuming you had to be, quite vocal. So if we rewind back to that time there, was visibility crucial as a part of the job? Was that what you was expected to do, or was you quietly doing work behind the scenes, or was you quite noisy?
I believe I was very fortunate to work for an entrepreneurial, forward-thinking accountancy firm. Okay, so even as a smaller firm of 30, 40 people, they had an insolvency department. You had partners who came from larger organisations. They had the experience, and they were a firm which encouraged people to participate in the client conversations. And like everything, you learn from other people, you learn from the conversations, you learn from make mistakes, but also learn to do things better. And in that firm, they really encouraged you to do things differently and better. So when they recognised the fact that I was doing something quite niche, because people weren't doing it, and it was recognised by the banks. So this is where I started to get my first taste of presenting, because if it's trying to win new work or engaging with banks to actually sort of refer work, it's a case of I do presentations on business intelligence, the power of having the right information. Very nerve-wracking. It's nervous speaking in front of your peers who are experts as a 20-something, but it creates that confidence, and actually what you're doing is doing something different. But also with that firm, because I was very much in the information and the data and how to do things slightly differently, they actually allowed me on the inner circle. So I was allowed to actually help prepare some of the internal budgets, the forecasts. So if you imagine as a firm eventually with 20 partners and 40 to 50 managers, each portfolio holder had a whole plethora of graphs and charts, WIP, lockup, debtors, bills, every month within a couple of days after the month end, which they could slice and dice. But also I was involved with the budgeting as well. So when you've got, let's say, 200 people, I was quite proud of the fact that when I was forecasting the productivity budget for 200 people, I was only 0.05% out at the end of the year.
Wow.
I'm just thinking about, like, I've worked in large organisations where I've been management reporting in the organisation, so I didn't work in practice. And I never had that level of information in such a short amount of time. And like, this is so, you were so forward thinking, even as a teenager, really, to go in to do your work experience, think, I want to choose a different degree so I can be sure that, accountancy is going to be the thing for me. Then you really assessed your job opportunities, and you were really progressive in your thinking about what journey will I go on by choosing to work with this firm rather than doing something else. It's fascinating. I don't think I had that level of insight. Like, was there someone guiding you in those like career decisions? Did you have a family member or a friend or someone who just helped you think about like your career path?
Well, I would say my parents have always been the people I focused on and admired. Really strong work ethic. They weren't in the professions. One was a hydrographer, so that's charts, not maps. One was a theatre nurse, but it was their work ethic, their approach to life. But though they didn't guide me in terms of my career choice, they just supported me. And that's what sort of nurtured me, gave me that sort of approach to, let's say, always do better.
I think when you have that kind of unwavering support, that builds confidence in the child to make decisions for themselves. And maybe go down a bit more of a risky route and think it's okay because I'm going to have that support and I'm going to give this a try. You won an award, Technology Champion, in 2014. Do you think that really changed your profile? Because you was talking about doing these bank, talking to your peers and things like that. But we always say about awards are a really great way to start becoming visible, because you have to put yourself forward. You're quiet, you're behind the scenes, but then either being shortlisted or winning an award. Did you think that really did start to change your profile, that award? Yeah,
it certainly did. And also, it was the turning point of social media as well. LinkedIn was very, very new at that time in terms of how people use it. Was literally a job searching site, really. But also, they were the early years of Accounting Web doing the awards. I think it was like year 1 or year 2. So it's a case of meeting the great John Stockdike. And therefore, I was quite a regular. Let's say he would call me on a Friday and ask for my opinion. But really winning, great memories. You hear him on the phone, tapping away on his keyboard furiously.
Writing in his notebook.
Exactly. But what that gave me the confidence is that there's more to it than actually in the office. because I think in the noughties, let's call it, accountancy firms weren't as collaborative as they could be, not like they are now. Accountancy firms probably saw each other as competition. The firm I was working for didn't take that approach because we had an insolvency department. Naturally, we're supporting other accountancy firms and a corporate finance department. So it was a useful insight in terms of how firms could operate. But certainly with that Accounting Web Award and meeting other accountants, because let's imagine it's a case of the work-life balance was work in the office, go home, not really go to events or go to other conferences. And suddenly that opportunity arose. So I was going to other technology partner events and starting to see there's more out there and learning more. So yes, it increased my profile. It was very rewarding point in my life because I thought, yeah, I'm doing something different.
Yeah, making a massive difference and showing people that this is for them as well. So how did the opportunity at Sage come about?
So with the Sage relationship, I've always used Sage, whether it's Sage 50 or we also had some Sage practice management solutions. But clearly at that time, it was providing my insights to the technology business in terms of how the software could be better. And I did that with other partners, whether it was Digita or Xero or QuickBooks. People would ask for my insights because it's not about saying, oh, I wish it could do this. It's actually, I wish it could do this because this is the impact it would have on us. And it's explaining it. So it's being constructive in the observation and the feedback. So with working with Sage, had a fantastic account manager. So the account manager was great. But also that, and then opened up the opportunities in terms of a few little speaking opportunities, getting involved in some webinars. And then I did a case study. So there's a whole film reel with me being a case study, Chris Downing at Milstead Langdon. That's never seen the light of day.
Oh, no, really?
So I did that in October 2017.
Okay.
And then at the same time, there were conversations in terms of, Chris, could you work with us a bit closely? And that naturally evolved in terms of an employment opportunity before that sort of PR and press was actually released. So there's some really lovely content available, which is, I do have a copy of it.
Oh,
Would it be useful for people to see now?
I have looked at it and I still think it's a fantastic observation in terms of what clients want. How should accountancy firms actually relate and work with their clients? So all very relevant. So even that's now 8 years ago, it's still, nothing's really changed.
No.
It's just how we do work a little bit more efficiently.
So we feel that you've taken on some of the visibility that James Ashford had when he was building Go Proposal. Do you see a difference in the outcomes that software and products have when they have a key person of influence versus when they don't?
Well, I don't think it's a key person of influence. It's someone they can relate to. It's having that trust, that relationship, that authenticity, because it's a case of software does a fantastic job, but actually it needs to be brought to life. You need to understand how it works, how it operates, but the outcomes of using it in a better way. And if you imagine what James's approach, and it still is, because he talks about pricing and value and making sure you don't do any out of scope work and all those themes, it's a case of his passion behind it. And when you consider what accountants are fantastic at delivering compliance. Some are fantastic business owners, but actually some struggle in terms of actually ensuring that they get paid what they deserve. And I think what James gave was that confidence. And I think something in the profession, whether it's accountants or bookkeepers, is having that element of confidence in terms of you're doing an amazing job all the time. You're juggling a huge number of tasks and jobs. Client demands are always increasing, and therefore it's actually focusing on what's really important. And I think James did a fantastic little role model in terms of how he delivered that. And that passion naturally gave people being inquisitive in terms of what is Go Proposal? What does it do? And that provided the insights in terms of how Go Proposal improved its capabilities, its functions, its features, because any piece of software is driven by the customer, the client, the accountant, and having that voice, that authenticity, that open-minded approach in terms of actually taking the rough with the smooth and understanding how accounting firms want to use the technology, obviously made Go Proposal the key, the best proposal solution out there, and then also built out tools like Oversuite, Letter of Engagement, as well as AML.
I think it's interesting because obviously we're thinking about our bookkeepers and accountants who are tuning in and how they want to be more visible and what they can learn. And I think almost the tension that comes about when you are a software vendor is you may not actually use the software yourself. So it's a harder job potentially. You know, James wasn't running a practice, but he was selling a solution to practices. Whereas as bookkeepers and accountants, you are selling services that help people run a business, and actually you do run a business yourself. So it should be easier. But I think there's maybe like a mindset about what it means to be visible and show up with authenticity about the product you have. And you obviously can do that as well because you've come from a practice background. So that, you know, that must make it easier for you to be
I felt the pressures
visible.
at the month end, getting the bills out.
Yeah,
And then
you get
thinking,
it.
chasing for money in and feeling embarrassed to ask for money.
Yeah.
It's a strange concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's getting over that mindset.
Yeah, and it's that empathy. So the visibility, like obviously visibility is a huge part of what you do right now. How do you make space for, I guess you, like, I feel like we see you as, oh, Chris Downing, he's just at every event. That obviously isn't your job.
No, it's not. It's not my job.
It's not even your job. So like, how do you make space to fit everything in around also delivering everything else you need to do in your role?
I believe it's because of the accountancy degree, or accountancy profession. Because being an accountant, being a bookkeeper, you always meet those deadlines, no matter how challenging they are. You always fit the work in the day. You're juggling multiple things in your head, and you just get stuff done. And I think that 19 years being in the profession and doing that day in, day out, that's really tricky period of times. And because I was naturally an individual who really liked to get stuck in, and I had the opportunity to work in corporate finance projects, a bit of insolvency, had my own client portfolio, trying to sort of push the boundaries in terms of what I could do in accountancy. I always had that passion and excitement and being energized by doing that. So working in Sage is no different. I really love what I do, but also my job isn't just delivering webinars or going to events. It's supporting colleagues, whether it's in product or product marketing or strategy, providing the insights, getting involved in conversations. It's a very busy day. But also with that, I get the enjoyment of going and meeting people. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges of working for Sage is once upon a time I was in an office. I had a team around me. That was my Monday to Friday experience. Now I work from home. I'm a remote worker down in Somerset, miles from anyone. And therefore you crave that sort of interaction with people. And this is why I get to do both things, that have that interaction, but also bring that insight. And really one of my roles is the voice of the customer, the voice of the accountant, the bookkeeper, a reality check of what's actually happening in the big wide world. How are you using technology? What are your pain points? What are you thinking about the next couple of months? So as a business, we do the right thing, build the right tools, but also interact with you and provide the right services.
Do you ever say no to opportunities and events? Because from our point of view, you seem very much like a yes person. But what are the things you do say no to? And how do you like protect your time?
So I think it comes down to no has always been a difficult word for me. However, because I do have quite a few commitments at the moment, it's all about what is the impact it's going to have at an event or on a webinar.
Yeah.
Is it the right audience? Is the right context I wish to speak about? And therefore it is a case of, especially over the past 12 months, it's a case of actually, do you really want me to do that? Or actually, is there a better person to do so? And what I'm striving to is actually bring more colleagues involved to get involved in certain events or speaking opportunities, because actually we have some amazing talent in Sage. And therefore it's actually bringing their expertise and their passion to the forefront.
Most bookkeepers, you know, when you speak to lots of them, they're brilliant. And accountancy practice owners, they're brilliant but invisible. Why do you get so visible, and why do you believe that they need to become more visible?
So going back into practice, the way I was able to deliver much of my work was with bookkeepers. So I had a network of bookkeepers. As a firm, we actually encouraged that sort of bookkeeper club. We actually had lunches with bookkeepers to bring them into the firm, so we could actually provide guidance in terms of the latest piece of legislation, but also more importantly, it provides that support. Because bookkeeping is a lonely profession sometimes. It can be a tricky profession. especially when you're the person having the conversation with the client, maybe weekly or daily, and they may have a certain query they need answering, but you may not have the experience. So having the confidence that you actually got a trusted accountant who may have a little bit more technical experience, which you can have that conversation with, is really important. So going back to that question in terms of why I think bookkeepers are so important and why they should be more visible, is the fact that actually they are so much closer to the numbers. They actually have probably greater commercial acumen in some situations because they're living and feeling how that business is operating. But also they're having the regular conversations with the business owner. And therefore it's that natural sort of golden triangle between the accountant, the business owner and the bookkeeper, which always works best. And I think what we're seeing is obviously a lot of accountants doing more data processing or bookkeeping. But I think when you've got those new themes called Making Tax Digital, which is naturally digitizing a lot of business owners, but also forcing a lot of change in terms of the accountants are working, it's actually about accountants focusing where do they leverage their value, where can they make more money or more profit, and actually working with probably a greater portfolio of clients and think about how they can actually not subcontract, but actually lean into the bookkeeping community to help support them. And I think that's a really great need, because when you think 90% of the profession, I mean, accountants is a single individual, maybe a couple of employees. There's not the capacity.
No.
And therefore that capacity is actually fulfilled by actually being more collaborative.
I love that. We completely agree. Okay, so let's fast forward 10 years or so. If you were looking back on today and the work that you're doing right now, what is it that you hope is the legacy that you'll be leaving for bookkeepers and accountants? What can they learn from you?
That's a big question, isn't it?
It's a big one.
It is. I think the key thing what I would like to leave behind is the fact that no matter where you are in your career, you are learning new ways of working, and your expertise is really thought about and really found from. And therefore it's a case of, if you are thinking about a career change, if you're struggling in what you're doing, whether you're working by yourself or you want to go and be employed with someone or take a completely different direction, I don't know, go and work for a technology business, the opportunities are huge out there, and therefore grasp them. Because me leaving the profession was a massive decision. I'd been with that firm 19 years. I could have been there for another 25 years. And it was a case of going from accountancy to going and working for a business with 12,000 employees. It was a big change. And I'm so glad I made that change, because I get to do what I love doing, geeking out on legislation. I'm still an Excel expert. Now I'm a PowerPoint expert. Yeah. But it's the key thing is I'm getting to work with business owners, and the business owners are the accountants themselves. And I get to teach, educate, showcase what is possible, which is no different to what I was doing back in practice. My conversations with clients, yeah, okay, fine, it's about what can we do to actually, let's say, make you a bit more profitable or manage that tax bill. Is actually, are you aware your business could be more efficient if you use this piece of technology? Have you thought about this way of working in terms of actually how your team structure is operating? All those themes are the themes which we do as accountants. We can take that knowledge and that experience, that expertise, and as bookkeepers in any role which we wish to do so.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this, please tune in to more of the 6FB Sofa Sessions and subscribe to our channel, where you can hear all of our usual conversations over on the Bookkeepers podcast.